the Hallmarkies podcast. We are so excited today to be here to be celebrating the week 2 of Hallmark movies, including the Halloween movie for Christmas. Very fun. Very excited to be able to talk about these films. I'm film critic Rachel Wagner, and Jazzman Hester is here.
Hi, everybody.
And Cami Clements is here.
Hi, guys. Merry Christmas.
Yay. And Jazzman, we last had you on in August, I believe. And so how was your fall?
My fall actually was pretty good.
Yeah.
Fall was such a blur. It was 2020. But I had a good fall, though. Binged a lot of fall movies. Heavily, also Christmas.
Yeah.
That was a good Christmas.
I mean, it's kind of funny because most of the world is currently in fall, but we're like, it already happened. It's over. So, Cami, how about you? How have you been doing?
Been doing fine. I did get COVID, but it was a very mild case, and I was out before Halloween, which is what my kids were really excited about. They were the saddest about the possibility of not celebrating Halloween, and everything was fine by then, so that was good.
Mm-hmm. That's good. Yeah, if y'all want to check out Cami's Instagram, you should, and look at her very cute family costumes.
They're Hallmark
Very fun.
themed.
Yes. Postables themed.
my whole family, all 6 of us, my husband, me, and my 4 kids, we all dressed up like characters from Signed, Sealed, Delivered. It was so much fun. I couldn't believe I got away with it.
Yeah, enjoy that while that lasts. Those kids get older, they're not gonna.
Oh, I know. I think this was our last year for a family theme. I don't think they're gonna take it anymore.
Yeah.
We're boycotting.
Yeah.
Jazzman, did you dress up for Halloween?
I did. It was last minute DIY. I was I did not plan like I usually do. So I was I have Golden State Warrior basketball stuff in my closet. I'm I just be a dancer. That's it. And then my pom-poms fell apart. They were cheap.
Oh. You're like a cheerleader kind of? Yeah, that sounds fun. I actually didn't dress up on Halloween Day itself or even the weekend, but I had previously, my costume for this year, I'd worn at our FanX, our con that we had finally after 2 years of it being canceled, or 2 years since the last one. And I was Wanda from WandaVision, so that was pretty fun because I love that show.
Yeah, if we're being technical, we didn't dress up on Halloween Day either. It was the day before. So.
Yeah. So we've had 2 weeks of Christmas movies, and I feel like it's been a pretty strong output so far. Nothing that I've really hated, I think. And so then some that I've really, really loved. So yeah, it's interesting. I feel like the last 2 years, Hallmark has really started off strong. I loved Delivered by Christmas last year. That was my favorite of the whole season. I think that was the first or second weekend.
Pretty sure it was.
It was very early on. Yeah, first weekend. Yeah, and so they're starting with some of their best. Would you agree, Jazzman?
I definitely agree. They've been since last year been hitting the ball out of the park between diversity, between how they're laying out, which movies they're laying out throughout the whole entire season. It's been perfect in my book so far.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you agree, Cami?
I agree that there have been some really, really strong ones, and they've been different, not just with diversity, but with plot lines, which is something that I really appreciate because they can. I remember sitting down and going, okay, time for another Hallmark Christmas movie. Okay. I had to kind of gear myself up for it. And then I was like, oh, this is different. This is good. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. And it makes me excited for this whole season because I think we're going to be getting some different plots and some. I mean, it took them long enough to announce it. That was frustrating, but other than that, it seems like a very exciting lineup. So let's dive in. Let's talk about the movies from this weekend. We started out with Christmas in Harmony. This was on the 29th on Hallmark Channel. It starred Ashley Murray, Luke James, Loretta Devine, Michelle Williams, and Basil Wallace. Directed by Rusty Condife and writer Jesseline Barry. And the summary is Harmony is tricked into auditioning for the holiday chorus, directed by an ex boyfriend. By Christmas Eve, they could be harmonizing in the key of love. And when we were previewing this, me and Elise Murray, we were like, what does that mean? She was tricked into being like, what? And that's not really how it is in the movie. She's not really tricked into
Not
being
really.
into
You
it.
gotta love blurbs. They don't quite get it.
Yeah, like she's like it's a consensual thing. She's like, I want to do it and I want to be in it, and she agrees. Like it's not really tricked, but
She was persuading it, like your mother's like, I want you to do this, because we need you to do this.
yeah, yeah. The mom definitely puts on some pressure for her to do it, which is really funny to me because I always was away from my family when they were in California. I was in Utah when I was in my 20s, and the idea of like going to my parents and being corralled into directing the community play on my Christmas break is just really funny to me, or the Christmas choir in this case. I would never have done anything like that, but
I
yeah.
had to do
So
stuff like that all the time.
overall, what did you?
So, maybe not the entire program. That's a bit much, but they said, "Oh, Cammie, you're home for Christmas. Can you do this?" I'm like, sure, why not? So,
That's funny. You could write a Hallmark movie. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Well, overall, Jasmine, what did you think of Christmas in Harmony?
I loved it. It kind of
Mm-hmm.
reminded me of like me growing up in church, especially 'cause I grew up in the Baptist church,
Mm-hmm.
and just like the little gossip, like who's liking who, and just it felt like really like, I guess from a cultural standpoint when watching it, I was like, I get this. I understand what they're talking about. I understand the harmonize. Like it was really good. Like it felt like even though it was like a countdown to Christmas, I felt like it could have crossed paths with movies and mysteries at the same time. Cause
Yeah.
how inspirational it was in a way, like not giving up on your dream, like what happened. But I actually like the blend of the two.
Mm-hmm.
And I like how it felt into the countdown on Christmas, but also gave that chance of it could have been on the other side of,
Mm-hmm.
of the other station.
Yeah, I think you could say that about Christmas Promise as well. We'll talk about that later, but or not Christmas Promise,
okay,
Christmas
I was about
Sale.
to say,
I think you could say that about
whoa, no,
Christmas
no,
Yes.
no,
Sale.
that one belonged on Hallmark Movies and Mysteries.
Yeah,
Yes.
but Christmas Sale, I think that you could have easily put that on Hallmark Movies Mysteries
Yes. I
and
can agree with
Miracles of
that.
Christmas. Yeah. So, what about you, Cami? Overall, what did you think of A Christmas in Harmony?
To be completely honest, it was not my favorite. I had a really really hard time getting past the canned music sound because I'm a singer. So the auto tuning when they're outside and doing impromptu caroling, yeah, that was that really irked me, and I really had trouble getting past that. I'm like, just sing. And then Michelle Williams, she's supposed to be this huge singer, and they have her sing two measures of Carol of the Bells, and it doesn't even feature her voice. I'm just like, so and then this is something that I have trouble with a lot, and it's not just this movie. It's this you've got the protagonist who is pushing her old love interest away, but you saw him kissing another girl? How dare you? I'm just like, oh gosh, can you please just make up your mind? So, it's just,
That part.
so there were things that I absolutely loved about it. For instance, Luke James as Kyle. I thought he was fantastic, and I have never heard him sing before. And I two notes came out of that man's mouth, and I just went, "Oh my gosh!" that was some beautiful singing. That was some beautiful singing. And I thought that, when she wasn't pushing him away, Harmony and Kyle were really, really, really cute together. And so it was not my favorite. I thought the music recording and the storyline itself could have been a little bit tighter, a little bit stronger, but overall it was pleasant.
Yeah, I mean, it had its pros and cons, I would say, this movie, but overall, I enjoyed it. I think that that Laura Devine was really good. She always elevates anything she's in. I mean, she's just born to play this kind of busybody
Meddling mother.
matchmaker mother.
Yes.
Yeah, she's really good.
Always the mom in every movie or TV show that she plays in. And I think she really was the glue that kept the movie together in a way.
Yeah,
Um,
I agree. Yeah, she is in This Christmas, which is a movie that I really enjoy. If you like, um, if you like this kind of family story, it's really fun, and it's got a great cast with Regina King and Idris Elba and Laura Devine, and so if you're looking for an underrated uh, feature film Christmas movie, This Christmas is really good. But I liked her, and I actually liked Michelle Williams. She was a lot better than I thought she would be. I don't know. I mean, I just thought she had a charisma, a presence on screen that I wasn't expecting, and I thought that she was in the movie more than I was expecting. She maybe didn't sing that
See,
much.
that
That's
that
fair,
was the big thing.
but
I thought she had a great screen presence, and I thought that they used her plenty enough. I just didn't think they used her voice enough.
yeah. Yeah, and that probably has a lot of the music stuff probably has something to do with like copyright and how much they can use, and if you have to pay people more
That's
if they're
fair.
singing, and things like that. But yeah, no, I mean I did write on my thing that the plot was basic but fine. That there is a lot of music in the movie. But yeah, that some of the dubbing was not the best.
yeah, I can say that about the music, the auto tune. I'm like, wait, is she really singing? Because I heard Luke singing, but I'm like, I can definitely agree with that. I know Michelle has done a couple of acting jobs, so I knew that she was a good actor
Hmm.
on on stage because she had done movies in the past. So I'm like, I wish that she was in more scenes because it probably could be the time contributing on her scheduling because
Yeah.
Hallmark does 15 days worth of shooting and
My favorite scene in the whole movie was what I call the cozy baking scene, where they were making the cookies and you do like the lean he does like the lean over. They're like kneading the dough. I love scenes like
oh
that.
gosh, I wanted to touch his skin. I was like, your skin is so soft.
Well,
Yeah.
after making a sweet potato pie, anybody's skin would be soft.
You know what? I will say this. I was really upset about how they had Harmony carry all those pies. And I know from experience from aunts, grandmothers, we would not be carrying all those pies like that. Especially homemade pies like
Right.
that. You asking for death.
It's true.
No, that was like 15 pies. No, no. I agree. But I thought that the two leads were very flirty, were very cute, and I love that kind of thing when you get like the little almost even more than the actual like kisses when you get like little flirty moments where like I said the cozy baking scenes or I don't know. I just love stuff like that. I eat it up.
Also, when they were at the club, when they were like singing in each other's ears, I was like, I
Yeah,
wish someone
that
could do
was
that
cute.
with me.
Oh man, when he started singing in her ear, I was like, okay, dying right now,
Yes.
just melting right on the floor.
Yes.
If my husband would do that more often, oh man.
Well, out of 5 crowns, what would you give Christmas in Harmony? What would you give it, Jasmine?
I will give it a 3. Let's see, 3 out of 5, correct?
Yeah, and you can do points. You can like point
Ooh,
5 or whatever. You can do
let's
whatever
do
you
a
want.
3.5 crowns.
Okay, good. And what about you, Cami?
I'm going to go with a 3 on this one.
Mhm. Yeah, I am going to agree with Jasmine. 3.5 from me. I'd watch it again. So that's
Yeah.
usually my kind of litmus test.
Hey Hallmarkies, it's time to take a quick break to talk about something super fun. How would you like to party with your favorite celebrities from the Christmas and seasonal movies that you love so much? If you enjoy watching romantic dramas on network television and streaming services, you don't want to miss the Rama Drama live event coming soon in 2022. Spend the weekend escaping into the Rama Drama world and meeting your favorite on-screen celebrities like Trevor Donovan, Ryan Pavey, Andrew Walker, Jen Lilly, Wes Brown, Brittany Bristow, Aaron Cahill, Rob Mays, and more. These fan-focused in-person parties cater to movie lovers just like you. Make memories, leave with photos, autographs, swag, and an exceptional experience to last a lifetime. Join us in Palm Beach, Florida on January 7th through 9th, 2022 at the Palm Beach Convention Center. You can get more information and your tickets from ramadrama.com. Again, that's ramadrama.com.
So, all right, next on the 30th, we had The Christmas Promise, and this was on Hallmark Movies Mysteries. And it's Tori DeVito, Dylan Bruce, Grayston Holt, and Patrick Duffy. I don't think, was it Grayston Holt? He wasn't in that. Was he?
No, I don't think
I don't know why it said that on
No,
the
it was
IMDb.
Giles Panton.
Eliza Phyllis.
Yeah. Ignore that. That's what it said on the IMDb. Anyway, it's a woman renovates the house that she was meant to live in with her fiance. Again, not the best accurate summary. I mean, she doesn't really. She hires someone to renovate the house. She won't even go in it until the end. But yeah. So this movie, I loved this movie. I thought it was great. I thought it was moving. I thought it was very well written. The script was just so well done. I absolutely loved the scene. We'll talk about it more, but I loved the scene where they have the kiss and the exclamation points versus question marks. I thought that was so good. And I loved the ending. I loved the whole feeling of friendship and the group of friends that she has to support her through this whole thing. Matthew James Dowden, I always love. He's great. He was great as one of her friends. Karen Holness, she's always good. She was
Jesse
good in this.
Moss.
I just loved it. I thought it was excellent. Patrick Duffy is her dad. He was really good. Or
Your
grandpa, sorry.
grandpa, yeah.
He was great. I just thought it was excellent. And I would be surprised, honestly, if there's a movie from Hallmark this year that I like better than this. It is going to have a very high score. What about you, Jasmine? What do you think?
I actually love The Christmas Promise. This was really
Yeah.
like, it had me. Like, this was definitely second week strong for movies and mysteries. Like, it gave us, about talking about grief, talking about coping, innocence. The characters were like literally playing off each other cohesively. It was a point where I thought that we were really, because they were talking about we're going to the Majestic. I'm like, wait, are we in the same town as Majestic Christmas from like a couple of years ago? Yeah, I was like comparing, I'm like putting it together. I'm like, wait a minute, I remember him being in there at one time.
Yeah. Hallmark Cinematic Universe.
Exactly. I'm just saying. But no, I really, just, it also reminded me when someone was when they were texting back and forth. It reminded me of either a movie that I've seen before where they've done that before, but I couldn't put my finger on it where I've seen it before or read about it. But I remember seeing something similar like that, but I love how they played it in this.
It did feel quite a bit like Deliver by Christmas from last year, which I loved. And except for this, even it had this other layer of this grief that you like saw this beginning. The intro was so well done and so emotional. And it had this also sort of a more of a spirit of friendship than even that movie had. So they may have one upped my favorite movie from last year.
Whoa.
I know, shocking. But what do you think,
I
Cami?
adored it. I
Yeah.
absolutely adored it. They had everything. They really, really did. They had everything that I appreciate in a good Hallmark Christmas movie. One thing that I didn't really expect to notice, but I did, was that we see our protagonist in a happy, healthy, comfortable, and settled relationship. And it occurred to me that we have seen married couples in Hallmark movies, but they're separated, or they're going through a separation, or they're going through a rough patch. And then you see couples who are either meeting for the first time and they have a lot of chemistry, but they're uncomfortable with it, or they're reuniting after a long time, but there's too much baggage and there's too much history. So it was actually really, really nice to have a few minutes to see her happy and to see her in a comfortable, sweet, romantic relationship. And then we got to take the journey of grief. And it
Yeah.
and showing them at the beginning, I think, made us appreciate the grief more because we got attached to Henry. I know I did. And
Mm-hmm.
I was upset. I was like, don't go get
oh
that
my gosh,
ice.
I know.
Don't do
I
it.
was like, no, don't leave.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm always like, don't get the ice.
And Dylan Bruce, I have not seen him since A Novel Romance with Amy Acker. And he was phenomenal in that movie, and he was phenomenal in this movie. I think what I put my finger on is that he was casual and natural right from the beginning. He, even though we're broaching a basically a widow because she lost her fiance, even though we're
Yeah.
broaching the
Mm-hmm.
subject of a widow and her dealing with the grief, and even though there was the discomfort, he didn't let that stop him. He didn't back off. He was natural and comfortable even from the very beginning, even when she was uncomfortable. So it made it a little less painful to watch, if you will, because when both people are just so awkward, you're just like, oh gosh, I can't watch. So
Yeah. Yeah.
that
No,
made
it
it
was
easy and
so well
light.
done. They had such great chemistry. She managed to have chemistry with
She
both, I
did.
thought, amazingly enough. Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Mm-hmm. I agree.
yes, exactly. The chemistry with both was fantastic.
Mm-hmm. The one thing I wondered about is I didn't really understand completely why he didn't want to meet her. I mean, I guess he was worried that she would think that he knew from the whole time, but I feel like all that he'd have to say is, "Oh, I didn't know. This is the first time I'm hearing about this." I feel like not meeting her it only makes the lie kind of worse.
Yeah, I did have a little bit of an issue with that. That's why it's not getting a full 5 crowns. But
Yeah, you understand for the need of the movie because that we need to kind
yeah.
of stretch out the story, but as far as his character, I just feel like it makes more sense for him to go in there and say, "Hey, it's me," kind of a thing. But that's not what he decided to do. But these sort of texting back and forth, and the whole thing with if you were to get a text from the phone number of your beloved that's passed on, like that would be so
Oh gosh.
emotional. That would be so
I mean,
just
when the
every
phone buzzed and there was the shot of his hand picking up the phone, I got emotional there.
yeah,
You know, I mean,
yeah,
Man, I thought like, did Harry come back? Let me know. It was like some like misidentity that I should
yeah.
know about.
when the phone buzzed and there was the shot of his hand picking up the phone, I got emotional there.
It reminded me of that one with Kevin Smith and Kelly Martin.
Yeah,
You know, the
hello, it's
"Hello, It's
me.
Me," because that's but in that case, it's actually like
Yeah,
supernatural. But in this case, it's not. But but yeah, I also liked the way that they would have like little moments between, not even just the friend group. Sometimes it was just strangers, like when he's talking to the little girl at the pool. about- and it's just like sometimes it's easier to talk to people you don't know.
right.
And I thought that was very authentic and true. And I, and I, like I said, I loved this whole friend group, and I loved that her sister kept bringing her all these casseroles.
Oh
That was very,
gosh.
that's totally true. Maybe not after a year, maybe they would stop, but I, I think most of us have been there when you lose somebody and the casseroles keep coming. That was good,
There were also
and
so many quotable lines.
mhm.
Sunday
Yes.
isn't a day of the week. I'm like, whoever wrote that, they get a raise because that's brilliant. I mean, I'm thinking of
Mhm.
painting that on my archway in my house. That I was
Yeah.
very, very inspired by that. And then sometimes those broken places will let the light in. I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is profound. You know,
I know they
Yeah.
had one that said you have to let go to move forward. I was like, wow.
Yeah, that was a
uh-huh.
really good scene. And when they make the joy sign for
Mm.
her, and that was
Yes.
I was happy that this was like a true white elephant gift exchange in the way that I've always known it, which is almost never portrayed in Hallmark movies, like Road to Christmas or things like Road to Christmas. They're giving out like iPods and stuff like that. I'm like, what is this? Because in any white elephant party I've ever been to, it's always like
Gag
silly
gifts.
stuff, like ridiculous stuff. And I felt like, oh, they actually did that for this movie.
See, that happened at one of my no, it wasn't a friend did it for White Elephant. And I remember one of my friends, she had brought in like we have like a local like doghouse grocery, like brought two gift certificates. Like that's not probably part of the gift. But then they gave her an apple. Okay, swap the gifts. I was like, but I don't eat fruit because the texture. It was just super funny. I'm like, you're not supposed to bring
Mhm.
those type of gifts.
Like my go-to is I always get the Harry Potter jelly beans,
Oh,
that some of them are really
yes.
gross. That's what I usually get for a White Elephant Exchange. But this was fun. They had like a chia pet, and they had a
Wine
wine
For the
glass holder
shower.
for the shower.
Oh my gosh. Like he broke my gift. I'm changing it.
Oh,
Yeah.
Karen Holness was
I
perfect for this role.
yeah, she was really good, yeah. And I also liked that they had the holiday themed spa girls' night. I've never seen that in a Hallmark movie. I'm like, I want to do that, like eggnog, face mask, and I think one was like cranberry or something.
I'm just sad that that her mask wasn't was it red because it would be a cute Christmas colors going around.
Yeah, I think there was a bowl of red, but or maybe it was purple,
It
but
was purple
anyway,
because it was white. No, they had green. No, it was green,
yeah,
red,
green and white.
white. Yeah,
I was like, that was a creative idea
Well, when you own a beauty shop at
for
Christmas, what else are you gonna do? You know.
yeah. Because I mean, I've talked with so many writers of the Hallmark writers over the years, and it's really hard to come up with something that hasn't
Yeah.
been done
hmm
in one of these movies. And I can't think of when I've seen a spa night in one of these. That was fun. Um, so I also liked the fact that she wasn't unreasonable about the fact that her grandfather was dating.
Yeah.
Because I think in a lesser scripts, she would have made that like a big deal, and it would have made her character less likable. But she was obviously kind of like, ooh, what's happening? But she didn't make a stink about it, which I
The other
appreciated.
thing that I really liked about her in her journey, if you will, is that she realizes when she's gone too far or when she's been rude. when she was talking to him at the house and saying, "Give me the mistletoe," like, "No, I'm sure what you're doing is great. Goodbye." And she stops herself and she turns around and she says, much, much nicer, "I'm sure everything looks beautiful. I really appreciate your work." She doesn't just storm off and expect everybody to understand that she's still grieving for her fiance. She
Mhm.
realizes that she has a problem that she still needs to deal with, and she doesn't expect everyone to just say, "Okay, you're grieving."
Mhm.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, she was a very well-written character. Caroline told me who wrote it, and now I can't remember. Um, it's the same lady who wrote It Was Always
Oh,
You
well, that's why.
this
Oh, okay.
yeah,
That
this
makes
year.
sense.
And and she's great. She's a great writer, and I think that she did such a good job of making the characters, especially given the time constraints. And there were a lot of characters, and there was a lot of plot in this movie. And I thought she did a great job of making the characters feel
Mhm.
authentic and getting you into the emotion quickly. And I don't know, making it work. And like I said, I absolutely loved that whole kissing scene with the is it a question
Can
mark or
we
an
talk about
exclamation
that
point?
now?
Like,
Yes.
yes, let's talk about it. Did you love it as much as
Oh
me?
gosh, yes.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, good. What do you think of it, Jasmine?
Oh my gosh, I loved it. It reminded me of last year's movie with Mark Taylor. When they did the
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
yes, when they had that back and forth, they're like, wait a minute. I was like, it reminded me just like that though, but like, are we sure we're kissing? Like, wait, do we like each other? Like, did we do that? I was like, this was cute. I was like, I have to question that too.
Because you think about, I mean, a kiss or even any almost any other interaction. Like, is it something that you're sort of hesitant, like you're questioning, like should you do it? But you do it, or if it's something that you're like, yes, I'm so into it. It's an exclamation point. Like that's such a smart way to talk about that and write about it. And the actors totally delivered it well. And I mean, I took a video of it with my phone because I was like, this is such a perfectly written, perfectly executed scene. It
It
was so
was.
good. Yeah, Cammy, you
I
you loved it
did.
too.
I absolutely loved it. And just, when she comes out the door, you can immediately see the sparkle in his eyes. And a lot of times the natural reaction is, "Wow, you look beautiful." But instead he kept it internal. But you could tell that he was just dying to kiss her.
Yeah. And then she goes back again and he's like, that felt like
And
an exclamation
he's
point. I'm like,
laughing at
ah!
her. He's laughing at her. Like, that felt like two exclamation points. And I'm sitting on my couch just dying, holding my ribs because
No,
I'm laughing so
it was
hard.
so good.
And then she went back and gave him one like exclamation point. I'm like, wait a minute, okay. We're going
Yeah.
back and forth, okay.
Kathy Cloves is her name. She doesn't have any information on her IMDb as far as contact or whatever, but if anybody knows her or if she's listening by some miracle, I would love to talk to you because your movies this year were both extremely
Uh-huh.
strong.
I
Yeah.
guess he was shooting his shot because, like, exclamation point, I'm gonna shoot my shot, see what happens. 'Cause I wasn't expecting that at all. I was like, wait a minute, they didn't go on no date. They didn't do that. Like,
Yeah.
Well, and
okay.
it's
Let's you call it the meeting at the bakery, like, kind of like, a
Mm-hmm.
mini date, but because she left her
yeah.
glove there. I was like, aw.
Well, and I've said this so many times on this podcast that a lot of times the problem with like near kisses is that it pretends then they usually kind of pretend like nothing ever happened after that, where I feel like you should use, whether it's a kiss or a near kiss, you should use that to build on the plot and actually so they've had this like thing happen. And I don't think there's that much difference between, as far as in the reality of what it would mean to a couple, I don't think there's that much difference between an ear kiss and an actual kiss. Like it's still the same kind of moment that you have to address and deal with. And so often then they don't. And so to use the kiss as a
A
catalyst in the
complete
plot
plot point,
to That she has to decide now. Is it a question mark or an exclamation point? Brilliant.
Well,
So good.
and the final kiss said, "So, what score would you give that kiss?" I'm like, "Oh my
Yeah, that was
Oh my
so
God, that
good.
was so cute.
gosh, like 9.5 will kiss me again so we can make it a 10." I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh boy,
Boom.
someone turn on the fans."
Yes.
Yeah, it was so good. And I loved the ending. I completely agree with you. And then you also have her starting her own business because she'd been running Henry's business in his dream. And now she is going to be doing these sweaters. And that was sweet and that was fun. And when he gives her that little tiny house,
Oh
it was so
gosh.
cute. I loved it so
I started crying again when he carved her a house.
Yeah.
Because that was what he did
And
to feel like home, because he was an army
yeah,
brat. So
right.
the fact that he was
It
sharing
was-
something, he was knowingly sharing it with her after the whole debacle. That takes a lot of
yeah.
guts to open yourself up like that again. And so for
Mhm.
him,
And also he was saying that because he's at this point he thinks that she's
right,
selling the house. He has no doubt about that. So he's giving it to her as a way for her to remember
and
Henry
her
by,
home.
which is so sweet. Yeah. You should always have a way to remember it. And I forget who it was who said it. I forgot to write it in my notes, but said we're all just stumbling through this life trying to figure things out. Everyone makes mistakes. Don't let that be the reason to give up on somebody. So great. Perfect. And so yeah, I loved this movie. It was so good. I'm going to watch it
Oh
many
yeah.
more times this season. And I, I mean, yeah, there was like that little thing about why didn't he just reveal himself to her? I don't really understand that. But I'm going to give it a 4.9. I loved it. It was great. What about you, Jasmine? What are you going to give it?
Oh my goodness. I'm going to give it a 4.8.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. Cammie, what about you?
4.9. Yep.
Yeah. Very good. That was a great film. And I gave it a sock in the preview, so I was not that hopeful. So way
Wow.
to go.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
Mhm.
is
Way to push the expectation up.
Yeah, that's right. Ho, ho, ho. We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies Patreon.
Do you love Hallmarkies podcast, especially at Christmas?
Do you enjoy the holiday previews, recaps, interviews, and bonus episodes?
If the answer is yes, please consider supporting the Hallmarkies Patreon. We need your help to do what we do both during the Christmas season and all year round.
But not only do you help a podcast led by strong, independent women by becoming a Patreon, you get to become a part of the Hallmarkies family.
Starting at only $2 a month as a patron, you will have access to our Facebook Patreon group where we talk about the movies, shows, and more all year.
We also have many monthly patron watch-alongs with guests like Lacey Chabert, Natalie Hall, Paul Campbell, Mary Lou Henner, and more, giving their behind-the-scenes details of their films.
As a patron, you also have the chance to provide input into the podcast and even join us at different tiers.
So this Christmas season, spread some cheer to the Hallmarkies Patreon and become a member today. You won't regret it.
Go to patreon.com/Hallmarkies to learn more.
That's patreon.com/Hallmarkies. Okay, next up on the 30th, we had Coyote Creek Christmas on Hallmark Channel. This stars Janelle Parrish and Ryan Pavey, director David L. Strasser, Alexa Garster, writer. And it's the fate of the Coyote Creek Inn and Paige's relationship are both left to the magic of the holiday season to decide. That's also not a great description, but there we go. These summaries. Um, but yeah, so this is Ryan Pavey, Janelle Parrish, and her parents own this inn. And she goes back and she's very upset to learn that they are going to be selling the inn. So what did you think of this overall, Jasmine?
I actually enjoyed this. I actually love the theme of having the different Christmases, like from different cultures, because we never have to see that in Hallmark. And I really wanted it to be placed in a whole, like, I guess another movie per se, like if they were like the town doing it and everybody was different and came together as a town. But Actually, I love this. The person who actually stole the whole entire movie was Noah. Pierre Point Blank. He was the star of the movie. I understand, the main characters, but the kids stole the movie.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. The kids were
he,
really
he
cute.
was a very strong kid actor. I was very pleased with there were one or two times, but he's a kid. He's not gonna be on for the entire movie. But he was great. He was a very strong actor.
Yeah. Yeah, this was fine. It's harmless, I guess, but it was definitely my least favorite of the four. I didn't feel a whole lot of chemistry between Janelle Parrish and Ryan Pavey, and I found her character to be a little grating. I mean, her parents have every right to sell their inn, and they don't need her permission, and just her whole attitude just annoyed me.
I'm with you. I'm with you, Rachel. She annoyed the heck out of me. I'm just like, why are you taking this out on him? Why is this his fault?
Yeah.
They're your parents. You've known this guy a week.
Yeah.
You've known this guy a week.
He's actually doing your parents a favor. Like he's taking his Christmas time with his child, and he's helping them to this thing they want to do. So yeah, I struggled with her. I mean, I did think that the Christmas around the world was fun. We have seen that before though in Let It Snow, and better in that one, the inn with all the things, and then I also really enjoyed the side couple. That they were very, very cute. I thought I even put on Twitter. I was like, I wish the movie was about them. I forget their names, but they were really cute.
Mia and Quinn.
Yeah, they were great. I really like both those actresses. I thought they had great chemistry, and I don't know. I just thought their story was more interesting than the main story.
Yes, I was going to say the exact same thing. I was invested more in Quinn and Mia, and I was invested in the staff versus everybody else.
Oh, I loved the staff.
They were fun.
The staff. They were such a group of characters. It was great.
Yeah, they were really fun. And there were moments in the script that I thought stood out, like when they're swapping ideas and somebody brings up Krampus. I thought that was really funny. I'm like, I never thought I'd hear Krampus get brought up in a Hallmark Christmas movie. So that made me laugh. So there were sort of fun moments. It made me laugh that the idea that they are doing Christmas light this year at the inn, and yet they have garland everywhere. They've got like multiple Christmas trees. I'm like, sure. Yeah. You're really Christmas with the cranks here. So yeah. For me, I would probably give this one, I'm going to give it 3 crowns. What about you, Jazzman?
I was going to go 3 as well.
Yeah. Cammie, what about you?
I'm going with a 3. I will say this though. I did not think that I would like seeing Ryan Pavey play a dad, and I did. I thought he played a really great dad, and we've never seen him do that before. At least I haven't. And so that was kind of a redeeming quality. I also loved Cameron Bancroft as her father. I thought that he was a really, really strong character, and I got very upset with the parents that they let him take the heat for them not telling their daughter, but whatever.
Yes.
So those two things helped, but all in all, my overall enjoyment, I probably will go with a 3 as well.
Yeah. Yeah. We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies merch store.
Are you looking for that perfect gift for the postable, Hardy, or Hallmarky in your life?
What about getting that t-shirt or hoodie that will help you stand out at your next holiday party?
Now is the time to check out the Hallmarkies merch store.
Full of festive designs by artists like Jessica Miller, Carrie from Hallmark Comics, and more.
You can even have more than just shirts, but totes, cell phone cases, notebooks, mugs, and more.
And it isn't just Hallmark. We have designs for Anna Green Gables, Man from Snowy River, The Nanny, and more.
Every purchase at the merch store goes to help support the podcast and allows us to make the great content you know and love.
There are frequent sales, so go to tpublic.com/stores/Hallmarkies or see the link in the description.
That's tpublic.com/stores/Hallmarkies.
All right, last one we have for this weekend is Christmas sale. This is on Halloween on the 31st. Hallmark Channel. The stars Katie Sackhoff and Patrick Sabongi and Terry O'Quinn. And I had the privilege of interviewing both Katie and Patrick. They're great. And so I admit in this movie, I was coming into it pretty hyped, pretty excited. And I really wanted to love it. And I didn't love it as much as The Christmas Promise, but I did enjoy it. I thought it was a sweet movie. And but I guess I should read the summary first. It's when Liz returns home to take care of her strange father, she is determined to give her daughter a perfect Christmas and reconnects with her best friend. And so what did you think of this one, Jazzman?
I'm not gonna lie. Usually I sit down, I will watch it. It was one where I had to like walk around the house doing like my cleaning to hear the movie though. But I like maybe because it was on the regular countdown of Christmas, I felt like it should have been moved to movies and mysteries. And it had a great plot. It just felt like it was going so slow till we got to the end.
Mm-hmm. I do agree that I think it probably should have been in Miracles of Christmas. I think that is fair that it if people were expecting something kind of light and rom-com-y because it's on the channel, it didn't really deliver much of that. It was more of the emotion.
Yeah.
What do you think,
love
Cammie?
the idea.
What'd you say, Jazzman?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the idea that the Christmas sail boats. I've always heard about that, like doing like decorating the boats and everything. I'm like, oh, this would be great. I'm thinking it'll be more fun, but it turned more of like we used to do that with Mom, and then like, okay, this definitely is bringing me down a little bit. I feel like I need a Miracle of Christmas.
and they did one like that on Lifetime last year with the parade on the boats. Of course, I can't remember. I think it was Christmas in Louisiana. I think.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
I remember like 2 years ago. I remember they did that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that was fun. And then they did it here, and I really, enjoyed that. I agree. What did you think, Cammie, overall?
I enjoyed it. It was a solid entry. I'm a big fan of Terry O'Quinn. I've liked him for a very, very long time in a lot of different projects. And so what I think I liked most about him is that he wasn't a Scrooge. I remember my husband coming into the room while I was watching it at one point, and he said, they're not doing a very good job of making him the grinchy, Scroogey old man. I said, that's not the point, sweetheart. The point is his wife died, and it makes him sad to celebrate Christmas. So he's just put it aside, and he's forgotten how to celebrate Christmas. And so I thought that they did a really good job of not making him too angry. He was just kind of blasé about the whole thing. And when he saw that was hurting his granddaughter, he didn't realize how much it hurt his daughter until she started talking about it. But, he little by little, he started doing things. He played chess with his granddaughter and taught her how. He put on the elf hat and helped her get food collections, and he bought a tree and decorated it. So, baby steps, and it led to a really, really great journey.
Mm-hmm. And the little girl was great in this, I thought. She was so cute, but also I felt like she felt real, like not too uber cute, but their bond between her and her grandpa was so sweet. And I really liked the moment where they said, wouldn't it be better if we missed her altogether?
Oh my gosh.
And I think that was
I'm gonna have me cry.
Yeah, that was really good. That was good. And also when she's like, you're on the nice list now. It's good. Grandpa. That was cute. Um, I thought that Katie and Patrick had really good chemistry. It was definitely building through the whole movie. And I just feel very strongly. I think that Katie Sackhoff has huge potential in this space. She's so bright. She's so uh, happy, and I don't know. I think she's a really good actress, and the fact that her husband wrote this is kind of fun. And then when she said in the interview that they actually sold two when they sold this, or when they got this, and so we're at least going to see her. I mean, assuming the movie gets made, in one other movie. I think this is a pretty good starting out point, and I'm really hopeful for kind of what she's going to do next. We've had some people, we're losing Danica, we're losing Jen Lilly, some other things like that. And so I think she could be somebody that could be a fun new leading lady.
Wasn't this the first? I think that this is the first Hallmark movie that Patrick has been a leading man in.
I think so too. I haven't seen some of like the mysteries and things that
I'm pretty
been
sure
in.
that he's never been the main character. He's always been the brother or the husband of the friend, or things like that.
I agree.
And he held his own. Absolutely, he held his own.
That I've got to tell you, when he was telling her while they were dancing what his dream was and what his ideal date with her would be, and then he leans over and whispers, "Oh gosh,
oh, it was so good,
darling, yes. I love you, and I have always loved you." I thought my heart was gonna pound out of my chest. And okay, this is when my husband said something profound. He said, "That is the saddest thing I have heard when there's a divorce involved." I'm just like, oh, I'm gonna
cry harder now. Yeah, that dance was great. Yeah. That was probably the highlight of the movie. That dancing scene was so good.
The fact that her last name was Darling, and so he was calling her Liz Darling, it added a certain pizzazz to it.
Yeah, I said a very dreamy dance.
Yeah, definitely.
And I liked too that right after that he goes to talk to, they have a scene with her and her dad, and then he talks to her dad and he's like, "I'm in love with your daughter." And he's like, "Well, what are you gonna do about it?" Because this kind of plot does kind of make me crazy when people are willing to throw out like the great love of their life because they don't want to move. I'm just like, maybe it's just because I'm 40 and single, so I would absolutely move wherever they needed to go.
Right?
I mean, it's the love of your life. Excuse. Like, that doesn't happen every day. Just move.
Right? You've been living with her since like you guys were young. Like, just do it.
Yeah.
Your mom will be fine.
Yeah. And so then we got the boat parade, as we said, and the slideshow on the sail was great.
I would say sweet. I cried when it popped up out of nowhere. I was like, "What is this?" I'm watching. I'm like, "Oh my god!" I start crying. I'm like, "This is beautiful."
Mm-hmm. The way that he was like kneeling, I thought, is he gonna propose?
I thought so too. The lies they tell us.
They sold us out.
Then the stop talking. So good.
I thought she was going to say, "Stop talking and kiss me." I thought that she was going to go full forward and say it, but I'm like, oh well, she just did it instead.
Yeah, she just did.
I do have to say, the lights on the boat were beautiful, but I do have to admit that it became special when the slideshow popped up on the sail. I was like, there's no way that she can lose now, obviously. But before that, I was looking at it and going, okay, yeah, stars, starry night. Yeah, it's pretty, but it didn't seem like anything ultra inspirational. And then the slideshow popped up. I'm like, okay, sobbing now. Like, now it deserves to win $25,000. So
Yeah, it definitely took it to the
Yeah,
next
that
level.
took it to the next level.
That's for sure. Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, I
So
remember it was. Yeah, I remember it was ripped. She's like, Dad, we can't use it because it's ripped. Da da da. And I'm like, when did he have time to fix the cell? I need to know. But I
mhm.
did love the fact that her dad finally, had the courage to help and heal and start, working on the boat with them and decorate because
Mhm.
he's so long he's been the helper for his wife to do it every year and like finally like okay, I have to heal from this, start a new chapter with this.
Yeah, wouldn't it just be better if we all missed her together? It's so sweet.
So
That was great.
Jasmine, you
So
said that you were wondering how he fixed the sale. Do you remember the scene when he's on the phone and then yeah, that's when he's ordering a sale and for it to be
Got
yeah,
you.
and then she comes up and like, what was that? Nothing. It was work. Yeah.
Okay, now I remember.
Okay.
Now I remember. I'm still mad
right.
at the fact that she answered that phone call when he manifest his love to her on the boat when they almost got hit with the cell. I was like,
Yeah.
why
That
would
was
he
a fun
answer the
moment.
phone? He was about to pour his heart out.
Let the phone go. Hallmark characters need to know how to silence their cell phones.
Thank you.
So true. So I give this movie, I'm going to give it 3.75 crowns. What do you think, Jasmine?
I'm gonna give it a 3.2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What about you, Cami?
I'm going to go right in the middle. I'm going to go 3.5.
We did get a few comments on our Twitter. I asked what people thought and how they rated them. So Anne, she has her ranking is Christmas Promise, Christmas in Harmony, Christmas Sale, and Coyote Creek. Our friend Scott from Waiting in the Pumpkin Patch, he says Christmas Promise was my clear favorite for the weekend and my favorite so far this season for Hallmark movies. It zigged when I thought it would zag, and it pleasantly surprised me. Christmas Sale was also a good one. The other two were fine. Hallmark Heartbeat, she says Promise, Sale, Harmony, Coyote in that order. Then Lauren Anne Marie, she says, surprised how much I enjoyed Christmas Sale, my favorite of the weekend. I love good TV Christmas romance. She says, haven't watched them all, but can assure you it won't be Coyote Creek Christmas. Our friend Caroline, she says, out of the three, Hallmark Channel Christmas Sale was my favorite, but the Christmas Promise was my favorite all around. Hallmark movies and mysteries came out swinging with two great movies this season. A couple more. Kathleen Foster, The Christmas Promise was my favorite. I really love Ryan Pavey, but I wasn't feeling any chemistry with his co-star. And Lauren Eagle, she says, 1, The Christmas Promise, outstanding, a home run. 2, Christmas Sale, very sweet, great cast. 3, Christmas in Harmony, cute, very enjoyable, singing is always a win. And 4, Coyote Creek Christmas, fine if a tad boring. Secondary couple was my favorite part. So there we go. That's some of the responses. But make sure you're following us at Hallmarkies Pod over on Twitter. And because we have polls and we have other things, it's a lot of fun over there. So check that out. And Jasmine, how can people follow you?
They can follow me on Twitter or on IG, but most of the time I'm on Twitter at Shreem16, SHREEM16.
Great. And Cami, what about
Twitter
you?
and Instagram, Cami Drama Girl, Cami spelled Kami. And you can also find me on Facebook with the Hooked Hardy Facebook page. And my blog is hookedhardy.com. And you can also find me on Hardy's Hotline and Deliver Me a Podcast.
Great. And you can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all of our social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. So please check that out. Also, make sure you're following the podcast at Hallmarkies Pod and Hallmarkies Podcast, all over social media. And if you are listening on iTunes, please leave your ratings and reviews. That really helps us a lot, especially this time of year, for people to find the podcast. And also, if you are listening on YouTube, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. We appreciate that so much. We also have our merch store with brand new designs that we just uploaded this week from artist Jessica Miller. So fun, a perfect place to get your holiday shopping done and support the podcast. And you can get all things Hardy's postables, and more over there. So please take a look. We would really appreciate it. Also, we have the patron group, which is really cheap and so much fun. And this month for our patron watch along, we are going to have writer Anna White on, and we are going to be watching her film Check Into Christmas, which is super fun with Rachel Boston and Wes Brown. So it's only $2 a month to join in the fun, and we would sure appreciate it. All the information is in the description. So thanks so much, ladies. I really appreciate it. And Merry Christmas, everyone. Bye.
Bye. Merry Christmas.